It's a beautiful day here in Maine. I've made it to the coast and I've got a great show planned for you today. I'm Lisa Steele, author, blogger, and fifth-generation chicken keeper. I live in rural Maine with my husband, flock of chickens, ducks, and geese, Winston the corgi, and Linus the indoor-outdoor barn cat. We moved to Maine for the peace and serenity. We wanted a simpler life and to step back in time where there are still corner stores and your neighbors still know your name. Welcome to my farm. For 3 months out of every year, Maine's coast turns into a beautiful seaside resort. Today, I'm headed to Belfast to pick up some lobster for a lobster boil we're going to have tonight for dinner.
That salt water will bring the sweetness out of the lobster.
There, my friend Raymond of Young's Lobster Pound teaches me how to cook the perfect lobster. Then back here at the farm, I'm going to introduce you to 2 more members of my flock. Claudette, our mother goose, who is a French Toulouse, and Fern the adventurer, a runner duck. It's going to be a busy day, beginning with some time in the garden. Let's get started. It's still a little bit early in the season for our regular vegetable garden to start producing, so it'll be a while before we have tomatoes or cucumbers or green beans, but my rhubarb has been going great. Rhubarb is really a cold climate type crop, and it loves the cold weather, and I've got so many stalks here that really need to be picked. Rhubarb will keep producing, so I like to come out every couple days, grab some of the biggest stalks. I try not to take more than 1/3 of any plant at one given time, but I love making strawberry rhubarb pie and strawberry jam, so I'll use what I can fresh, then I slice some and freeze it, use over the winter. So I'm just gonna see if there's any rhubarb here. And it's really easy. I just take the whole stalk and I just twist and pull it out. And that's really all there is to harvesting the rhubarb. I'm just looking for the biggest stalks. The leaves are toxic, so I do cut those off and throw those in the compost pile. The chickens don't get those. I look for stalks that are kind of the size of like a celery stalk. That's kind of like my rule of thumb. But by taking out the big ones, you encourage the plant to keep producing more from the middle, and I can already see some new leaves kind of starting here in the middle. This is a perennial, so once you plant it, it keeps coming back, and in the fall, I just cut down any remaining foliage and I just mulch it really well with straw from the chicken coop. Rhubarb is a heavy feeder, so it needs lots of nutrients, so it really, really loves the chicken manure. I've also got garlic growing in this garden. Garlic and rhubarb are really great companion plants. Garlic is great to plant around the edge of a garden anyway because it keeps the bugs out. Garlic also is a pretty heavy feeder, so it really loves the chicken manure mulch in the fall. I don't know if the garlic's ready. You're really looking for the leaves to turn yellow and kind of flop over, but I'll pull one out and see. Yeah, it's still too early. The bulb is really small. But in the fall, I plant the cloves with the papers on. I just plant them down about 2 inches, about 4 inches apart, cover them with the dirt, cover them with straw, and I won't do anything to them till usually late June, early July. And then when you pull them out, every clove has turned into an entire bulb of garlic. So that's a really great thing. We eat a lot of garlic. I also give garlic to the chickens. I add it to their water. It's really great for their immune systems, their respiratory systems, overall health. So I try to plant maybe 50 to 100 garlic cloves a year, both here and then in our regular vegetable garden also to keep the bugs out. I've got some strawberries in here too. I see some little strawberries starting. It's still a little early also since we didn't start them in a greenhouse or anything. But strawberries and rhubarb are also really good companions, not only in a pie but in the garden. Companion plants sort of help each other. One might attract bugs that eat bugs that are attracted to the other plant, or they put nutrients in the ground that the other plant can use. So all 3 of these just work really well together, and you know, in a small compact space you really can grow a lot, so it works out really well. Another one of my favorite summer crops is corn. Corn grows really well here in Maine. Ours isn't quite ready yet, but I do have some that I got from a local farm right in the house. So I've got my corn that we got from the local farm, and I'm just going to shuck it and get it ready for the lobster bake tonight. Anytime I have corn, I save the husks and the silk for the chickens. I just throw them in the run for them and let them have a little party while we're having our lobster bake. It gives them something to do, and the ducks actually really like eating the silk. After the break, we have some new additions to the farm. Plus,
Add a quarter of a cup of salt to your water at home, and that'll bring the flavor out.
Raymond gives me a couple pointers on how to boil the perfect lobster. So stay tuned. Last year, we decided to add some geese to our ever-growing flock. I chose the French Toulouse for their calm demeanor, and also because they're one of the larger breeds of geese, so not as susceptible to predators like hawks or foxes. We enjoyed them so much that we decided to add 3 new goslings to our flock this spring. Claudette is our French Toulouse goose. She's just a year old and loves to chase the ducks and eat our hosta, but other than that, she's a delightful addition to our little family. We gave the geese their own house so they wouldn't have to share with the chickens and ducks. And about a month ago, Claudette built a nest in one corner and decided that she wanted to sit on eggs and become a mom. Since we had a gander, the eggs should have been fertile, but sadly they weren't. I had realized pretty early on that they weren't going to hatch, so I got some day-old goslings shipped to the farm, and they arrived last week. You would never know that Claudette hadn't hatched them herself. She's thrilled with her new babies. She's a natural. Claudette is a French Toulouse goose. They come from the Toulouse region of France, and they're one of the large breed of geese. So she weighs about 20 pounds, and the ganders can weigh up to 25 pounds. Geese can live for 20 to 25 years. She's only a year old. She lays white eggs, but they only lay for about a month or 2 each spring, unlike ducks and chickens that lay almost year-round. They're a calm, docile breed. She is a great mom. She's been really great with her goslings. Part of the reason of us wanting to get geese was to keep the chickens and ducks a little bit safer from predators. A hawk is not going to take a goose, and a fox would probably think twice against a couple of geese. But as you can see, she's super friendly, not aggressive at all, as long as her babies aren't threatened. So the geese have been a really great addition to our backyard flock. It's about time to think about getting dinner ready. I can't wait to enjoy some lobster and blueberry whoopie pies. I'm here at Young's Lobster Pound, and I'm gonna head in and say hi to my friend Raymond, get some of his tips for making the best lobster bake tonight at home. Okay, before I get all your lobster cooking secrets, we have to pick out the perfect lobster.
Yep, you pick out whatever you want. That's your job.
I kind of like some of these blue ones.
Yeah.
Like maybe those 2 blue ones.
Well, that what you're looking at?
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, we'll put that one in the scales. That one there weighs almost a pound and a half.
Just a pound and a half. And how
That one
about
there's
this
a pound
guy?
and a half. Yep.
Yeah. I want you to eyeball it
Okay.
and pick out a pound and a half. Let's see how close you can get.
That's 3 ounces and plus 2, 4 ounces plus 2.
Good job. It's an acquired skill.
You want another one?
Yep.
Like
One more.
one more? There's a nice meaty one there.
Okay, we like meaty.
All right. All right. Got a little over 6 pounds. So we're going to put them in our net here.
Okay.
And we'll get them ready to cook.
Sorry, guys.
There. Number 19. Nick, put those in the kettle for me. It's going to be number 19, and those are going to take about 20 minutes in that boiling water. If you, especially hard shells this time of the year, if you have a female that's not cooked enough, the roe inside will be black like roofing tile.
Oh, wow.
So you want to make sure they're cooked all the way through. You hear a lot of restaurants and chefs say, oh, we only cook it 10 minutes. Well, that's fine for a soft shell. For a hard shell, especially a female, need to be at least cooked about 20 minutes. Get your water boiling, put them in. When it comes back to the second boil,
Then start the timer.
Then start the time.
Okay.
Yeah, because your boil's going to die down. This one never dies down. It's always constantly boiling, never goes down. If you can't get salt water at home, add 1/4 cup of salt to your water at home, and that'll bring the flavor out.
1/4 cup, like to a pot about that size?
Yeah, well, a pot this size, at least 1/4 cup
Wow.
of that.
Okay.
Yeah, because
All right.
that salt water will bring the sweetness out of the lobster. So
Okay.
add 1/4 cup of salt to your water, and that will bring that sweetness out. It actually, cooking a lobster longer softens the meat.
Okay.
So when you first put a lobster in, say for the first 10 minutes, a hard shell, you took it out, it's going to be rubbery, tough, stringy. If you cook it 20 minutes, it keeps softening that meat up and breaking the tendons down a little. If you overcook it, once you get, say you cook that lobster, say 3/4 of an hour, the meat will come out mushy and almost fall right out of the shell.
Right.
So that's when you've gone too far.
Okay.
Would you like some clams to go with your lobster?
Sure.
All right. And these clams only take 5 minutes in a heavy boil.
Okay.
At home, you'll need to cook them maybe 10 when they open up good.
Okay.
And the meat is not runny, it's quite firm. If you pull the clam out of the shell and the clam doesn't come out with the belly with it, it's not done enough.
Okay.
So it all should come out whole together.
This looks amazing. There's nothing better than fresh seafood.
Oh yeah, like I say, it come right off the boats and right into the
Right into the
right
water.
in the water and right in the kettle and right here. Hey, can't beat this beautiful day on the ocean.
I really appreciate all your tips and your expert advice. Thank you so much. My water is almost boiling, so I'm going to get the lobsters in, start them cooking using the tips that Raymond taught me today. I love going to get lobsters from him because he packs them in this amazing seaweed. Sea kelp is actually really good for chickens, so I am not going to throw this out. I'm going to give it to the chickens as a treat. It has tons of minerals and nutrients in it for them, and it also makes their egg yolks really, really bright orange. So I'm gonna get the lobsters into the pot and give the seaweed to the chickens. That looks great. When I come back, I'm going to show you how to make the official Maine treat, not to be confused with the official Maine pie, which is, of course, the blueberry pie. We're gonna need some sort of sweet dessert to end our dinner tonight, so I thought I would make some blueberry whoopie pies. There is nothing like Maine blueberries. Unlike other high bush blueberry varieties, they're a low bush wild blueberry, and they're tiny, just like little pops of flavor that are perfect for baking. So I make blueberry pies a lot, but I thought whoopie pies would be fun. They're kind of like a cakey, spongy cookie sandwich with cream cheese filling, and I'm gonna add some blueberry jam to that filling. So to get started, I am going to whisk my dry ingredients. So I'm gonna start with 2.5 cups of flour. Then I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Just gonna kind of whisk that a little bit. And I'm just gonna add some lemon zest. I like to keep whole lemons in the freezer because they're so much easier to zest when they're frozen. And then I just throw the rest of the lemon back in the freezer and I can defrost and juice it later or use it to garnish a cocktail or something. But I buy lemons when they're on sale, limes too, because they're expensive in that way. I just always have them on hand. So this will give the cake sort of a nice lemon flavor that'll go really well with the blueberries. So That looks good. Whisk it up. Now I'm going to mix my butter and sugar. So I've got a stick of butter, and I'm gonna get that going. It's room temperature, so it's softened a little bit. And I'm just gonna add a cup of sugar to that. I'm just gonna grab a spatula, make sure that the butter is really incorporated well with the sugar. Looks good. So now I'm going to add 2 eggs, one at a time, making sure that they're each really mixed in well. These are Moran's eggs. They're really great for baking, favorite of the French chefs. These are from Miranda. Then I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste, or you can substitute vanilla extract, same thing. That looks really good. I love using the vanilla bean paste because it has the flex like a real vanilla bean would that you don't get with the extract. So now I'm going to add in my dry ingredients and my buttermilk. I'm gonna sort of alternate between them. All right, that looks really good. It's kind of a sticky dough. Now I'm going to scoop the batter out onto parchment covered cookie sheets, and we'll get them into the oven. My cookies are out of the oven and they smell great. They look great. So I'm gonna let them cool and get started on the filling. I'm gonna make a cream cheese blueberry filling for them. So to the stand mixer, I'm going to add butter and cream cheese. Half a stick of butter, 4 ounces of cream cheese. I'm going to mix in a cup of confectioner's sugar. So now that's blended, and I'm going to add my blueberry jam. I made my own. You can use store-bought, but it's really easy just to mix some blueberries and sugar, a little bit of lemon zest on the stove until it gets to be a nice thick consistency like this. We buy blueberries when they're in season by the box, and I just freeze them. I usually separate them into freezer bags, enough for a pie, but I've also got extras to make jams and jellies or whatever else I might need blueberries for. I'm just gonna add a little bit of heavy cream just to thin it out a little bit. That looks great. So now I'm gonna fill my cookies. You can spoon the filling in, or you can use a piping bag to do it. These are gonna be the perfect summer treat. They'd be great for a picnic or barbecue in the summer to highlight the fresh berries. We have several breeds of ducks here on the farm. One of my absolute favorite is the Indian runner duck. They're an active, friendly breed, and I have a little girl I want you to meet. Fern is 2 years old and very active. Indian runners tend to be a little bit more skittish than other breeds of ducks. In fact, I think this is the longest I've ever held her, and I can feel she's shaking a little bit. But she's always curious about newcomers to the farm. Fern's my adventurer. She loves to lead the other ducks on one expedition or another and is always getting into trouble. She likes to wander, but she always comes back for dinner. Fern is an Indian runner duck. She is fawn and white, but runners come in all different colors: white and blue, chocolate, black. They were originally bred in Asia to work in the rice paddies and fields, and they were bred to stand more upright than the other ducks and to be smaller so they could travel the long distances from the farm to the field to eat all kinds of grubs and slugs and bug larvae in the field. So they're really used for insect control. They're great foragers. They're small ducks. They only weigh about 4 or 5 pounds, and they lay either blue or white eggs. Fern happens to lay a light blue colored egg, and they're pretty good layers as well as being good foragers. Oh, she's showing you how she stands up straight. They have orange feet like most ducks and orange bills, and she's got pretty blue eyes. Look at her. She's like, look at how tall I stand. You're a good girl, Fern. Look at you. Oh, you're such a good duck. If you've enjoyed this tip and others you've seen on the show, be sure to visit fresheggsdaily.com or pick up a copy of my book, 101 Chicken Keeping Hacks, wherever books are sold. Lobster, Lighthouse's local produce. There's no better place to be in the summer than Maine. Today we got some good eats for ourselves and some tasty treats for our chickens. Now it's time to enjoy.